Thank you so much, Molly, for the introduction, and I really enjoyed hearing what you said earlier about the students and the feeling of the administrators and the teachers. I wish all of you could have seen the faces of the teachers when we were hearing all the descriptions of the students. It was just filled with love and pride. And I really also enjoyed hearing about all of you. I would have really liked to see that snowball fight. So congratulations to all of you graduates. I'm really honored to be speaking at your first commencement. Like every commencement, this one is about endings and beginnings, and not just about schools, but about stages of life. Right now, you're kind of ending the time when you think your parents know everything, and you're beginning the time when you think your parents know nothing. And that's one reason it was very challenging for me to think about what I should say to you today. I wanted my talk to be meaningful and memorable, but not embarrassing if it shows up on YouTube. Most commencement speakers give advice and talk about their own experiences, but I wanted at least a decent chance of getting your attention, so instead of talking about me, I decided to talk about you. And that's also consistent with my work as a reporter and a writer, learning about other people, finding the commonalities and the insights and weaving it into a story. So that's what I did. Just like when I was a TV reporter, I visited your school and I asked questions. And I want to thank all of you who answered my very unscientific survey and for allowing me to mention some of your names. And mostly, thank you for sharing your thoughts, which really helped me organize my talk around what you're thinking and feeling. So first, I asked you to describe your experience over the years here. And if I didn't know better, I would really think your teachers told you what to say. The two words used most often, the first one was exciting, and the word almost everyone used was fun. I wonder if that's the word you're going to use in a couple years when you're sweating out your chemistry final. But seriously, I hope you won't always think or obsess about your grades. I hope you'll really take with you just what you described here, the excitement of discovering new things and the fun to be found in learning. When I asked what you will miss most of you said something like your friends, your teachers, and knowing everyone. And several people put into words what I think everyone feels here, and it's very apparent, we can all feel it, the closeness and the community. I'm impressed that you were, at this age, able to zero in and articulate what made this place magical for you. The feeling of being supported and nurtured, the feeling of belonging. And you definitely have that same feeling again as you move on. You'll become part of smaller communities within the larger ones, whether it's on a team, a club, community service, sharing a common interest. And this goes way beyond high school or college. When you take new jobs, move to new places, so much of life is about finding a community. And even you can create one for yourself, even on the internet. My point is that the feeling of being part of a community won't go away. In a big school and a big world, there's a place for each of you, where you will fit and where you feel that you belong. And this happens to be the perfect setup for the next question. What is the most important thing you learned at this school? There were a lot of different answers. Drew said, keep calm and carry on. Liza learned how to get along with everyone. Cameron says that you can have fun while learning. Maddie learned that being an individual is okay. Thatcher learned when you try hard, good things come. Anna learned to look out for each other and try your best. Genevieve learned to be more outgoing and not so shy. Kevin learned to accept others and help others accept me. And Junie says that everyone is unique in their own special way. And you're all part of the same class and the same community, but after hearing the descriptions of you and reading what your answers were, you can really notice how different you all are. At the same time you're learning the value of community, you're also learning the value of individuality. And this is really a gift you got from attending a school that appreciates individual differences. It's a wonderful foundation for life and will help you hold on to what makes you unique. Because some of you probably already appreciate this is one of life's trickier challenges, to be part of the group and still be part of yourself. There's another thing about your answers. Nobody mentioned learning multiplication tables, or a scientific formula, or speaking a different language. You did learn some of those things, I hope, right? But you all mentioned things that were important to you personally, and I couldn't agree more. I value my academic education, but I've always believed that the most important lessons are not in books. And as individuals, you're starting to discover something that I think is incredibly important, and that's discovering what interests you, what inspires you, what motivates you. In other words, you're learning to know yourself. And it sounds so simple and obvious, but it's not always. Knowing yourself is not always what your friends think, or what your parents or teachers think, or even sometimes what you think. It's what you feel and what you know deep, deep down. Some people call it your inner voice, your instinct, or following your heart. I call it your gut. And it's not always easy to get what your gut is telling you, but try, and when you do, you really learn to trust it. It's like having your own internal compass, and it tells you that you're going in the right direction. And right now you're heading in the direction of high school, so I asked you what excites you most about that. I love this. I can't remember, one of you said the cafeteria. The rest of you say you're looking forward to choosing not just what to eat, but what to wear when every day is free dress, what new friends you'll make, what classes and sports to pick. And I bet you can hear all your answers had a common theme. You're all excited about independence, the freedom to make your own choices. And really that's what life is about, a constant series of choices, big and little ones. Your choices will give your life direction and purpose. There are so many possibilities for your future, and you can sort of imagine life as an endless series of doors stretching out before you that you can walk through. And right now, for every one of you, every single one of those doors is open. How great is that? When I was applying to college, Yale was not an open door. It was just men. 2 years later, it opened admissions to women, a little crack in the door, and I was in. Today, in the digital age, change is happening at warp speed. Kids graduating college right now are starting jobs in fields that didn't even exist when they started college 4 years ago. So who knows what will be in store for you, even in the next 4 years. Life is unpredictable. The one thing you can count on is that things will change. And that means you will change too. And that's good. And fortunately, you're very well equipped for this. The human race has been evolving for thousands of years. That's what has allowed human beings to survive. And each of us has the ability to change. And I truly believe that being resilient and adaptable is the most valuable quality you can have for the rest of your life. Because we don't always know what's ahead. You do know what's ahead this fall, and almost everyone gave the same answer when I asked you what scares you most about high school. So you should all take some comfort in the fact that pretty much everyone is intimidated by the same thing, the homework. Now remember, I'm a reporter, so I did what I always do. I asked questions. And since most of you are going on to Stevenson, I went to Michelle Grogan, the head of the upper school, who's here somewhere, and I asked her, what about all this homework? And she said, they just decided to abolish all homework at Stevenson next year. Too bad. But I'm not kidding about asking her. I really did ask her, and here's what she actually said. While there might be more homework, don't forget that high school always involves more options than you're used to in 8th grade. New interests, new people, different activities, sports, and even free periods. Having more is not always overwhelming or bad. There will be a fun side to your next 4 years. And I do have a little personal experience with this. I went to a big public middle school, and when I was where you are, I was feeling pretty good. I wasn't too worried about the work in high school. I had always gotten A's, and in middle school, I was even voted most likely to succeed. So when I got to high school, it was everything I hoped. Football games, more people, more activities, more freedom, more fun. And then the first grading period rolled around, and for the first time in my life, I didn't even make the honor roll. All of a sudden, I felt very unlikely to succeed. My father was even more upset than I was, and he was very strict. He grounded me for the rest of the year. I was not allowed to go out or use the phone in our house, and in those days, we didn't have cell phones or computers. Mark Zuckerberg wasn't even born yet. That year of high school was not fun. And by the way, this is not a recommendation for your parents. I never pressured my own kids about homework or grades. I thought it was a bad idea when my dad did it, and I still think it's a bad idea now. The good news is that I brought up my grades and I survived, and after 4 months, I finally got out of the house. The better news is that this failure taught me a lot of lessons, and it makes a good story. And there's a far better story than mine, which was told at one of the most famous commencement speeches ever. Maybe some of you have seen it. Steve Jobs spoke at Stanford and told the graduates about his biggest failure when he got fired from Apple, the company he started. He said this failure was the best thing that had ever happened to him because it helped him learn from his mistakes, go on to accomplish bigger and better things afterwards, which we all know he did. And just last weekend, I read an interview in the New York Times with Drew Gilpin-Faust, who is the president of Harvard, the first woman president of Harvard ever. And she said that she wishes every single incoming Harvard freshman would read a book that I haven't read, but I will, called Being Wrong. And it's about embracing failure. So don't just listen to me, listen to Steve Jobs and the president of Harvard and all the other people who will tell you the same thing, that you learn a lot more from things that are hard than from things that come easily. In other words, we all learn more from failure than from success, and you will have both. We all do. Failing is how we learn, how we grow, and how we become better. And maybe some of you already have examples of this in your own lives. Maybe a sport you tried or a particular unit you studied that was really hard for you, and the feeling of satisfaction you got from overcoming a challenge. I help high school seniors write college essays, and I also interview people who are applying to Yale. So I've read a lot of college essays, and virtually every single essay is about a challenge faced and overcome. So hopefully you will have a few failures, or you won't have anything to write your college essays about. My own children are out of college now, and they're two of the smartest people I know. So I asked them what they would have wanted to know when they were sitting where you are, just entering high school. My son Daniel said it can be challenging not to be influenced and defined by other people, especially your friends. And he recommends to keep an open mind about everything and everyone, and remain true to yourself, and remember that gut. My daughter Allie suggests that you try not to get wrapped up in worries about the future and college, or you won't get to enjoy high school. And what she's saying is very wise, something people often say. Don't live in the past or the future. Live in the present, in the moment. And this is great advice, but it's not always that easy to do. So let's start with right now. take just these few minutes while I'm saying this, and don't think about who you're going to miss, or where you're going this summer, or where you're having lunch today, or answering your phone text when you get back. Instead, take a breath and think about this moment right now. You're here, you're surrounded by your friends and your teachers and your families and all these people who love and care about you. Truly experience this moment and what that means. Take in all the love, all the support, all the satisfaction, all the pride, all of it to honor and celebrate you. Thank you so much for letting me be part of that, and congratulations on your graduation.